I'm not going to spend a lot of time on me because what I really want to do is to get into really telling a story about a journey, right? And so my background is I'm an industrial organizational psychologist. Spent about 20 years in the space, and I'm really excited about a lot of the changes that we're seeing in terms of where I see the industry going with what we can actually do with employee data. So this looks like a really daunting slide. Promise number one, I do not read slides. So, but I want to take you on a little bit of a tour, if you will. So if you go up to True North, Qualtrics XM, and for those of you who haven't seen that moniker of the XM, stands for Experience Management. And what do we mean by that? It's really about empowering you, users, to take data created by people-related programs and actually make better, smarter, faster decisions about your work. So why is this such a simple concept, and why is it so exciting to somebody who's been doing this for 20 years? Well, that's part of the journey. So let me take you on the tour. So the X marks the spot that you're seeing over here. So that's what we call experience data. So, I remember the days when we used to spend months creating surveys and then deploying them by mail. That dates me a little bit. Ultimately, we had technology. Technology helped us deploy surveys faster. And really, if you look at the trends over the last 15, 20 years, that's essentially what's happened is surveys have been deployed faster. And that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but it's definitely something we need to manage, right? And so what I see in terms of trends is about 10 years ago, particularly when we would finish an executive presentation, we would hear this question that would come up a lot, which was, that's great, we raised our engagement score from a 79 to an 81. How's that save or make us money? Okay, we've got to go find something out, right? So let's figure out what other data that we've actually got at our disposal. Run over to the right-hand side of the equation, the O data, the operational data, right? Your HRIS, your CRM, and in those days past, it would be, again, an IO psychologist or a data scientist scrambling to try to find any unique identifier that would actually connect the experience data to the outcome data. And that would actually take 3, 4, 6 months in some cases. Well, I would submit to you that that was not operating at the speed of business. And there's still a lot of that going around, right? Because some of the things that we just learned about from the great Red Thread presentation is there's still some challenges about finding, connecting, and using data. But that's what makes this so really inspirational, I think, from my point of view, is because when we're taking all the great rich data that Qualtrics can actually create from brand, product, customer, employee experiences and actually marry that up with the things that are really important to the business leaders and those KPIs. The analogy that I use is it's not dissimilar to the way that a pilot uses an airplane instrument cluster to make good decisions about the aircraft, right? Now, there are discrete measurements within that instrument cluster: altitude, speed, airspeed, flaps, fuel. Those things are all equally important in their own rights, but the pilot has to have a single pane of truth to actually be able to make the appropriate decisions about that aircraft. That's what I'm really excited about. That's what experience management is about, is getting those data in real time so that you can actually make those better, smarter, faster decisions about the business. Now, how we're thinking about this at Qualtrics is kind of a yes and, right? So some of our more dogmatic colleagues at PAFOW say the engagement survey is dead, and I don't go that far, but I do think that it has and it has to continue to evolve, right? Because what you're seeing here is how Qualtrics is actually thinking about the concept of employee experience as it relates to engagement and experience management, and certainly it's rooted at the center of all this, but the reality is engagement has been viewed as a predictor of positive outcomes when in reality, it's the criteria. So if we're doing everything else right from the perspective of the workplace, so as an example, we have a solution called XM for IT. So how do we manage ticketing, technology consumption, special project resolution, right? So the workplace, can I actually get my work done? With transition, let's stop thinking about just life cycle stuff and throwing more pulses at the problem, but rather think about it from the perspective of the total life cycle. We're reaching out as organizations and touching brand enthusiasts as applicants and candidates. Let's keep them as brand enthusiasts even if we transition them into an employee. Let's not turn them into brand bashers, right? Then there's the individual. So I don't know about you, but I don't go into work every day thinking, man, I really need to know how many of my L&D initiatives I've actually completed. I don't think about those kinds of things, right? I probably think about things similar to what all of you do, like my career and progression, my family, my health, my money, the time that I'm investing here. So thinking about the individual and meeting the individual where he or she is already working, right? And then there's the collective Jameses, and that's in the people and culture. So all those things. So as I think about some of the clients that we have who have done this really well, Rogers Communications comes to mind up in Toronto. Dr. Jeff Ho and his team have done a fantastic job. Now he's built a big team, right? He's got 30 people working on this constantly, but they also started at a point that was 2 people, right? So what have they created over time? Well, they've got that dashboard. They have that airplane instrument cluster. They've connected their experience and operational data in a manner where we can actually see in real time innovation among employees coupled with manager coaching, resulting in better store sales. And so with that, we're actually able to see and course correct and make those agile adjustments to where we're really actually seeing the results. And we have this use case and some other case studies at our tabletop. I certainly encourage you to come and take a look at those, and we'll be happy to talk more about how they're actually getting all this done. It's really some pretty impressive work. So if you really want to see, how folks like Jeff Ho and his team at Rogers do this and really get schooled in the thought of experience management, there's one place to do that, and that is the Experience Management Summit. And so some of you have probably heard about this. It is an amazing show. Last year we had Oprah and Barack Obama and Richard Branson and the list goes on. You see these folks here. I've actually been given the green light to let you know that Arianna Huffington is actually keynoting as well. So please, by all means, come. Now, these are the great headliners, but what's probably more relevant to this group is we've also got real practitioners who have their hands deep in data. These are authors, these are practitioners, these are experts in this space, and they are actually going to be doing dozens of breakout sessions for folks just like you so that you can understand, like Rogers Communications, how they're going about thinking about their people-related programs, the data that those create, and what to do with it. Thanks for the time.